This is Nintendo Switch 2 overview trailer. So it's time for me to discuss some facts about the Nintendo Switch 2, or everything you need to know. Let's first start off with no gimmick allowed. And also let me turn this down, because I'm important right here. So the development, I kind of talked about this in a previous video, but the Nintendo Switch 2 started shortly after the OG Switch was released. Back then, they looked at the performance and limitations of the OG Switch, and they were trying to come up with changes that would make the thing even better. Well, in 2019, they started developing the Switch 2. They began to work on it and decided to create a more powerful version of the Switch instead of focusing on a new hardware gimmick, like Nintendo typically does. Next topic. Just a rumor. In 2023, Nintendo actually showed some Switch 2 demos at Gamescom to select the developers. These demos were said to be include a version of Zelda Breath of the Wild running at a higher frame rate and resolution. Obviously, Nintendo made people sign non-disclosure agreements and all that stuff, so these rumors will probably stay rumors forever. But now that the Switch 2 is out, and now there's a Switch 2 edition, I have a feeling that these were more than rumors. Next topic. Thinking backwards. The Nintendo Switch 2 is backwards compatible with the OG Switch games. This is not the first time a Nintendo console is backwards compatible, because y'all know the Wii U and Wii, right? The Switch 2 uses software and hardware emulations to make the Switch 1 games work, meaning that there isn't a Switch 1 inside the Switch 2. No, they're just kind of emulating the whole thing, and it's seamless, and it works flawlessly. It brilliant work. Brilliant. Next topic. New Nintendo Switch U. It's really important for Nintendo to make sure Nintendo Switch for Switch 1 owners could play their games on the successor. And this backwards compatibility requirement is one of the reasons the console got its name today. Switch 2. Apparently the name Super Nintendo Switch was also considered at some point paying homage to the Super Nintendo, being the successor to the NES. But Nintendo felt that this name would diminish the backwards compatibility feature, so they decided to go with Switch 2. So yeah, next one, a big leak. Speaking of names, well, the code name for the Nintendo Switch 2 wasn't even shared by Nintendo, but we ended up knowing it anyway. Pokemon developer studio Game Freak was actually a target of a huge data leak that revealed all sorts of information on upcoming and previous games. Among the leak was a codename for their upcoming Pokemon game to be released on Nintendo Switch OUT. Interesting codename, I would say. Next topic. Magnets. How do they work? The Joy-Cons 2 connects to the Nintendo Switch 2 using magnets, as y'all know. But this idea wasn't new for Nintendo. In fact, they wanted the magnets to be part of the original Switch model. But back then, they felt that the connection was too wobbly and not strong enough, so they didn't do it. So they decided to go with railing system instead. Luckily, I'm happy to report that they mastered the power of magnets with Nintendo Switch 2, and it's amazing. I love it. They did a great job. Next topic, the Japanese Switch 2. Just like the original Switch, while the Switch 2 is not region locked, meaning that you can play game cartridges and apps from all around the world, the thing is Japan actually has a region locked version of Nintendo Switch 2. This like Japan-Z model is way cheaper but it can only be used in Japan. It can only be it can only play Japanese version of the games and only supports the Japanese language. Yep, because it's Japan only. Next topic, Nintendo Ninjas versus Genki. During the Consumer Electronics Show of 2025, accessory manufacturer Genki, I believe, Genki decided to show off their new Switch 2 accessories to everyone. The problem was that back then the Switch 2 has not been revealed yet, so yeah, they kind of leaked the whole thing. They were not really ashamed of it, so until Nintendo decided to sue them. Now they have been real quiet about the whole thing, and visiting their accessory page for Switch 2 doesn't really show anything. So, yep, Nintendo got them. Nintendo got them. Next topic, political Switch 2. Months before the release, Nintendo actually sent hundreds of consoles to the USA to stockpiled in order to avoid the tariffs that. Okay, we're gonna get a little political here for the first 5 seconds. To avoid tariffs that the Trump administration, the Trump administration wanted to enact basically. So this would drive up the price considerably, and considering the console was already quite expensive, well, Nintendo could not deal with that. So they shipped their production from China to Vietnam to avoid having to pay higher tariffs. This economic trade war was also forced Nintendo to actually delay the pre-order date because they had to see what needed to be done with the prices and everything. In the end, the console remained at its initial price, but the accessories were made a bit more expensive in the US. So there you go. Nothing changed in the US. Next topic: drop the price. Speaking of that, the Nintendo Switch 2 retails for $450 and $5 for Mario Kart bundle, making it the most expensive console. If y'all wondering what other Nintendo consoles were expensive, well, let me tell you. At number 8, number 8 we had the NES, which cost $180. Number 8. Number 7, the Super Nintendo for $200. These ones are kind of the same price, but they're just slightly more expensive. Number 6, the Nintendo 64 at $200. Number 5, the GameCube, $200. Number 4, the Nintendo Wii at $250. Number 3, the Wii U, $300. Number 2, the Nintendo Switch, $300. And number 1 is the Switch 2 with $450. It is officially the most expensive console ever released by Nintendo. And this led some outrage online. A lot of people were mad about this, with the hashtag drop the price being quite a lot on social media. On the Nintendo Treehouse live stream, they were showing upcoming games, and the chat was spamming drop the price. Why y'all gotta be so annoying to say drop the price? Like, it's not that deep. Next topic is gonna be hashtag price. Next topic is hashtag price was okay. So after all that, Nintendo ended up dropping the price. After all that, Nintendo Switch 2 actually been out the most pre-order console of all time, according to GameStop at least. It sold over 5 million units in just a few days, which is pretty good. But I guess the online boycott didn't work out, right? Next topic: future-proof your life. Currently, the Switch 2 might not be. Next topic, sorry, my bad. Next topic is future-proof your life. If you don't currently have a Switch 2, but might be planning to get one down the line, well, you should totally buy the Nintendo Switch 2 edition cartridges of upcoming games, like Metroid Prime 4 or Pokemon Legends ZA. Basically, these cartridge titles will look and play a bit better on the Switch 2. But if you grab a Switch 2 edition cartridge and insert it to the OG Switch, they will work and play the Switch 1 version of that game. This will allow you to experience the game on Switch 1, and eventually, when you upgrade to Switch 2, well, you instantly have to update the version in order to play, which is pretty cool. Next topic: Hot HD Rumble. HD Rumble 2 is pretty cool as it can vibrate quite a lot, and you produce sounds using those vibrations. But be careful if there's too. Bro, shut up. But be careful, because if there's too much rumble going on for extended periods of time, the rumble will be disabled for a short amount of time. It's just a safety measure to avoid the Joy-Con overheating the controller with vibration, and it won't happen that and it won't happen that often. You shouldn't worry too much if that happens to you, as it will fix itself after a short period of time. So, your choice. just just make sure your Joy-Con won't explode. Next topic, mouse menus. You can actually use the new Joy-Con 2 mouse control on the Nintendo Switch 2 menus. If you put your Joy-Con down and start moving it, a cursor will pop on screen and voila, it's a computer. Now, okay, well, not really, but still pretty neat how it works. Give it credit. Next topic, mouse secret. When you first set up the Nintendo Switch 2, you'll be shown how to use those mouse controls in the menus. And while you see those little pictures, you see the little pictures, and you can actually interact with them using the mouse, and not just and they're not just for show, which it's pretty useless, but whatever. It's pretty cool nonetheless. Next topic, where is my controller? Losing your controllers kind of suck, right? But the Switch 2 has a neat way of finding them. If you go to your controller options and check out the Find Your Controller option there, you'll see all of the controllers currently registered to the console. Tap on one of these and the LS controller will emit a sound using the power of HD Rumble 2. So you press the controller, makes a little noise, try to find it, and you find your Joy-Con. So you won't to worry about losing it. Just like my Joy-Con 1, I almost lost. Next topic, no lag allowed. So you guys remember that little LAN adapter you needed to plug into the USB port of the OG Switch dock in order to get a better internet connection? Well, just like the dock, the Switch OLED, the new Switch 2 dock features a LAN adapter built into the dock itself, meaning lagging is no longer an option. Thank God. Next topic, good music. In the controller settings, you can actually create some music if you have 4 different controllers plugged in at once. You just have to press the L and R button to play the different music notes. You want to hear them? Well, here we go. There you go. Those are the little music notes. Next topic, controversial key cards. While Nintendo releases all of their games on lovely red cartridges that contains it all, a bunch of third parties have decided to go for game key cards, which do look a lot like cartridges, but they do have this little key icon on the banner. And what are they? Well, basically they are digital games, but with the physical key to play them. When you insert a game key card in your Switch, you'll be prompted to download the full game to your system. After that, if you want to play it, well, you have to put the key in the cartridge slot, and it's a bit of a weird concept, but it's cool. It allows you to sell your game once you're done playing it, which is something you cannot do with the digital only games. Next topic, 2 Pro or not 2 Pro. If you're still debating whether you should get the Pro Controller Switch Controller 2 or not, well, let me tell you that the new GL and GR buttons located behind it are actually pretty cool. These buttons can be mapped to any other button on your controller, and this mapping is done per user, per games. That means you don't have to go through a big menu to change your mapping every time you change games. Nope, it will remember what you set for every single game and will apply it automatically. That's amazing. Good job, Nintendo. Next topic, your secret is safe. Are you afraid of somebody grabbing your Switch 2 and then seeing those weird games that you're currently playing on it? Well, you can now set a pin on the system, meaning that if someone actually grabs it, well, they'll have to enter a pin before they can get to your games. It's because safety first, because there's gonna be some bad guys out there that try to they want to try to grab your Switch because they're so poor, and they're just dirty, Next topic, so many pictures. Do you like taking screenshots while you're playing? Well, me too. I sometimes like it. I sometimes use it. And guess what? You can now take quite a lot of screenshots with the Switch 2. You can have 15,000 screenshots saved on the system memory, and 15,000 more on the micro SD express. As for the videos, you can have 1,500 on the system and 5,000 on the micro SD card. That's quite a lot of screenshots. You can take as many pictures and videos as you want. A lot more, to be exact. Next topic, SD card express required? It was mentioned multiple times that the Nintendo Switch 2 requires an SD card express for additional storage, and that the classic SD cards just won't work. This is true for most of the features, but here's the thing, if you insert a classic SD card in the Switch 2, you won't be able to download the games onto it or store your save files, but you'll still be able to use the capture button to save some screenshots and videos on it. And after that, you'll be able to transfer them onto your computer, and it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. So be happy about that. Be happy about that. Next topic, why the C button? The new C button on the right Joy-Con is used for a brand new feature called Game Chat. Basically, you're able to voice chat, show your camera, and stream your gameplay with your friends directly on the new console. This is something Nintendo wanted to implement after the 2020 pandemic, when developers were stuck taking each other online. At the time, most software, talking to each other online. At the time, most softwares they had allowed sharing a screen while chatting, but they had to choose between showing your screen or their webcam. They couldn't have both at the same time. So back in 2020, they used to point their webcams at their screen to show off the progress they were making. Well, with Game Chat, this is no longer a problem. So thank you so much, Game Chat. Thank you so much. Something just dropped. Anyways, next topic, a secret Game Chat feature. Did you know that it actually features an accessibility option that wasn't advertised? As you play your video game and chat with your friends, you can actually turn on live captions. Once that's done, a box will pop up on your screen and everything will pop up, right? So everything, like you have a chat, pop it up and you turn on live captions, and once that is done, a box will pop up on screen, and everything you and your friends will say will be transcribed in real time. It works surprisingly well, even when multiple people are talking over each other. Pretty cool, I must say. Next topic, robots are here. And if you want to do the opposite, you can do it. You can do it too by going to the menu. You can have a keyboard pop up on screen, and everything you'll type here will be set on the other players with an AI sounding robot voice. AI is powerful, guys. AI is powerful. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. AI is a thing now. AI is a thing. Next topic, cool sounds. When you unlock your Switch 2, you'll have to press the same button 3 times to get to the main menu. And well, depending on the button you'll be pressing, the sound the console will make will be different. It's totally useless, but it's cool. It's cool, guys. It's cool. Just admit it. It's cool. Next topic, Go Sports. For the 2025 season, the Seattle Mariners, which I actually watched the game, are actually partnered with Nintendo of America because they have the Nintendo Switch 2 logo on their team jerseys. See, look, watch it. It's pretty cool. If you haven't seen it, I think there's definitely like highlights on the official MLB YouTube channel, and they have it right there on their jersey. Look at Seattle supporting Nintendo of America. Look at that. Amazing. Next topic, it's GameCube time. The new GameCube app for Switch 2 has neat little Easter eggs. If you hold the left Joy controller stick in any direction, the classic GameCube opening will play. I won't play it, but you guys know it. It goes like Boom, close enough. Now, if you hold the ZR and R controller as Nintendo Switch logo is clapping, well, you'll also be able to hear a special opening. It kind of sounds like the classic Nintendo opening with the kids kind of like laughing, you know what I mean. And if you hold down the ZR and R on 4 controllers at once, you'll get a third opening, which sounds like kind of like a tribe. It gives me like tribe vibes. Like I'm not gonna do it. Okay, okay. But okay, these little Easter. Here's and a little fun fact. All these Easter eggs were on the classic GameCube, so having them on the Switch 2 is just really amazing. Like, just paying tribute to the GameCube. I love it. This one will be the last topic. How many units sold? According to sales reports, as of July 2025, the Switch 2 sold 5 million units in its first month. The following day, but after that day, Nintendo kind of denied these sales reports, saying that it was not a leak, but more of a test data being put online, and it is incorrect. So I guess we'll have to wait until at least August when the actual sales will be made. The actual sales will be made public. Well, there you go. Hope you all enjoy those fun facts and everything you know about the Switch 2. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Go check my other videos, especially my Mario Kart videos, dude. I've been grinding the heck out of my Mario Kart videos, Mario Kart 8 to be precise. So yeah, go watch my Mario Kart videos because Mario Kart World is bombing right now. It's doing amazing. I know there's a little controversy of online, so looks like people are probably gonna leave Mario Kart World and go straight back to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Either the Switch or the Wii U. Probably the Switch because it has more levels in it, everything.